My name's Rachel Liu. I'm an artist based in the San Francisco Bay Area. My family's photo archive has been a source of inspirations for many of my projects since 2017. The works featured here are from my ongoing series titled Remember Me Like This. It's based on a collection of old black and white family photographs that I discovered at my grandmother's house in China. They were all loose black and white silver gelatin prints, really disorganized, kind of just thrown together in a bag. Like nobody really took them seriously or saw them as something very precious. And yet they were obviously very personal things that you don't just throw away. And yet they were not important enough for anybody to really, frame them or organize them. So a lot of them were really like in bad conditions. I either scanned them or I rephotographed them and printed everything in the darkroom as silver gelatin prints and enlarged them. Because a lot of them were contact size prints, so they were really super tiny. But I wanted to keep true to the original medium, which was silver gelatin. So I did print everything in the darkroom and using ink and to do this kind of painting process on top and gouache for the dots. There were a lot of things that intrigued me about these photographs. I was mostly intrigued by the disconnect between what I see in the photos and the stories I remember being told growing up. It made me realize that as seemingly candid and casual as these family photos are, they represent extremely selective experience and fragments of our past. Rather than being faithful documents of family histories and personal memories, they're really about what we want to remember and be remembered by. The work here on Photography of China's website are some of my earlier pieces from this project. This image here is of a young woman in a Red Army uniform in this very standard and classical studio portrait pose. The original photograph was of my aunt in 1966, and 1966 also happened to be the year when the Cultural Revolution started. She was wearing this borrowed uniform for a school performance. She felt exceedingly proud, so she ran to a local photo studio and had this portrait taken before she had to return the uniform. She was never in the army herself because her family background would disqualify her from joining. The red one was I felt those photographs were taken in the 60s during the height of the Cultural Revolution. So I definitely had that political time period in mind when I used the red. The blue one was taken much later toward the end of the Cultural Revolution. I believe it was in the mid 70s. I believe Cultural Revolution ended in 1976 officially after Mao's death. Definitely the color had some sort of significance for those pieces when I was doing that at that time. Actually, all of my projects have been based on using analog cameras. And I have also done other projects using alternative photographic processes or historical processes, so to speak. I only use digital technology to the extent of like scanning or supporting the work. But I would say most of the time, my work is analog. I make it a point to obscure the faces in all these work, precisely because I don't want people to identify the face with anybody, because really they are not about any particular individual or my family members. Like you said, it definitely has a lot more universal appeal, I think. My artistic intervention with these family photos in this project alters the original function and nature of the medium. I'm really interested in revealing photography's poetic moment of truth, which is ultimately, I think, symbolic and metaphorical.